Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We're going to be starting here in about 5 minutes. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our first webinar series. My name is Chuck Krasik. I'm with the Great Lakes Bentley User Group. If you saw from the slides here, we have multiple webinars already ready to go. We're planning them every 2 months. The next one will be July 16th, and creating a modeling a complex intersection. Today's webinar is going to be given by Christiana Holmes from Bentley on the new Connect Edition and ORD. And just what it looks like and what it can do, the new tools in OpenRoads Designer. So with that, I think Christiana's going to be about 45 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and take some questions. But if you look at your screen, if you go up to the top there, you'll see a Q&A button. If you click that, you can type in your questions and we'll answer them later on. But as of right now, everybody's phones are muted, so nobody can speak. So just hit the Q&A button, type in your questions, and then we'll get to them after Christiana's presentation. So with that, Christiana, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay, so welcome. My name is Christiana Holmes and I'm with Bentley. And today we're going to be discussing the OpenRoads Designer Connect Edition. So I'm just going to give you a brief background on the software. So previously Bentley has acquired actually 4 different civil softwares that included En-ROADS, GeoPack, MX Road, and Power Civil. And then we took those softwares and combined them into one, which is called OpenRoads Designer. So that will have all of your roadway design software, survey, drainage, and all of that will be included. And so what can you expect? Well, the first time you open the product, you'll get this welcome screen. On the left-hand side, you'll see some introductory videos. In the middle here, you'll see some direct access to our Learn courses for each different application. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see some news and announcements. And then once you are ready to start working, you can click that. It was a blue arrow. It'll take you to the startup screen. And this is where you can open up new files or create new files, browse to files, or open recent files. You can also get to properties or project information from this screen. And then once you open a file, you'll see that this is a completely new interface. It's a new ribbon interface. And we're going to actually get in the software a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. But it is easy to use. It's searchable, which makes things a lot easier. It will take some time just to kind of find where things are, but I really like it compared to the task. If you want to open up other files, you can go to the backstage. This is also where you'll find like your properties or settings, or you can save settings from here. Also new in OpenRoads is, well, feature definitions was in OpenRoads technology was available in SS4, but we've expanded upon that. So now we have some more feature definitions. I think there was only like 5 in SS4. Now we have a lot more than that. So we have some enhanced ones. They're categorized for you and they're searchable inside of Explorer. Also, kind of in the background, running behind the scenes, we have what we call feature symbologies. And so what something is and what it looks like are 2 separate things. The feature definition defines what something is, such as an alignment or a curb or a corridor. And then the feature symbology tells the software what it looks like. It also identifies what annotation groups, if any, so any labeling that you would want to have. And you can also separate it out by the display out by groups of elements. So for instance, if you wanted your alignments to be the tangent or linear elements to be one color and one level. You could do that, and then have your curves and everything on another color and another level. So the feature symbologies gives you a little bit more flexibility than what was available in SS4. The OpenRoads model section of Explorer is now searchable, so anything that's in your file you can search for. It's also sorted better, and it's just easier to navigate. Some of the best things that come from OpenRoads Designer are the drawing production and annotation capabilities. So now we have some, we can do labeling for plan, profile, and cross sections. We can do bulk annotation for sheeting. We can do annotations on just singular elements. And then we also have the drawing production and plan and profile sheet capabilities that have been added to OpenRoads, which was missing in SS4. We also have added the ability to do sheet indexing. And so I'll just kind of go over with you that right now. So I already have the product open. So the very first time you open it, this is what you'll see. Like I said, some videos on the left, and then in the middle, some learning courses, and then news and announcements. And then when you're ready to start, there's this blue arrow where you can start a work session. And then that will take you to this, the welcome screen. And we can set a workspace and a work set. The workspace and work set have replaced what used to be the user project interface. So your workspace will load things like your levels, feature definitions, those type of libraries. And then your work set can be either your project, or it could be a specific discipline. And then you can browse to a file. Your work set can also have properties. You can add properties here. So you could have as many properties as you want. So if you wanted to do something like project number, and then you can use these properties for things like sheeting and other information as well. So I'm just going to open a file. And we'll create some sheets. Okay. So once it opens, you'll notice the ribbon. Obviously, that's the biggest thing that stands out, is the ribbon is totally different. Let's talk about this interface a little bit before I create sheets. But at the top left, you'll see there's different what we call workflows. So depending on which workflow you choose is what tabs you'll see across the top. So drawing are all your MicroStation tools. Your just standard MicroStation tools. There's no longer layered products. So OpenRoads Designer, you don't have to have MicroStation and En-ROADS or and GeoPack. You can just have the OpenRoads Designer, and that includes all of your MicroStation things as well. The OpenRoads modeling will be all of your modeling, your OpenRoads civil tools. So you'll see all of those. And then the drawing production will be all of your sheeting tools. And then we have survey and geotechnical, which is GINT, and reality modeling, which is our context capture tools. And then subsurface, which would be your utilities and drainage design. So I'll just go back to OpenRoads modeling. And then also on the ribbon on the right-hand side, you can search for things if you don't know where to find them, which you probably won't when you're first starting out. So if you don't know where a place line is, you can search here, and then you can either, you see it pop up anything that has that in its name, and then you can hover over it and it will show you each ribbon where you can find that. And you can also click on these links and it will take you directly to that ribbon. And so there's Place SmartLine. You can also, down here at the bottom, go to Show Details. So if you don't know what a tool does, it will give you a little description as to what the tool will do. So let's first start out with sheets. So that's a big thing that was added since SS4. So I mean, under the OpenRoads modeling tab, but or workflow, but there's a drawing production tab. So it has the same things as this workflow. And so the tool for creating sheets is called Place Name Boundary. So I'll click on that. And so that will bring up this dialog. Across the top, you'll have a number of icons. The first icon, civil plan, and then you can do by element. We have profile, cross section, or by 2 points. And then the last three are basically come from the MicroStation, but you can do it by shape or by 2 points. So when you're doing civil, you'll probably use the first 5 mostly. So we'll start off with a plan sheet. So I'll do civil plan, and then we're going to pick a drawing seed. And so your drawing seed tells the software pretty much what kind of sheet you want to set up, what scale you're going to use, you know, what the lengths of those boundaries are going to be. But this is all dynamic to the scale as well. So if I, you know, change this to 1 to 20, you'll see that my lengths and offsets changed. So it will set up all of this information for you. It just kind of gives you like a default. This can all be edited. It doesn't have to stay this way. Just kind of a default way to set up your sheets. We'll talk about groups in a minute. And then at the bottom, there are a couple toggles. If you want to go ahead and create your sheets right now, you can toggle on this create drawing, and this will open up another dialog. If you just want to create your boundaries, you can just leave this toggled off. And so most everything in OpenRoads uses on-screen prompts, but this one is down here at the bottom. Down here at the bottom, it's kind of telling you what to do. Place name boundary, civil plan, identify path element. Let me move this over. And so it's asking for an element that it can follow along a path. So I'm going to pick my alignment. So I'll just pick this red line. And then it's going to start to track me according to that alignment. And so in the dialog, I can either type in a start location, or if I click this back arrow, that will go all the way back to the beginning of my alignment. And same thing with this. I could either type in a stop or go all the way to the end. And then we just need to left click in the view to actually see the boundaries, and then left click 2 more times to place them. Then you'll see this, we've toggled on create drawing and show dialog. So this is this create drawing dialog. It's telling you what mode you're in. This is all set up by the drawing seed as well. You really shouldn't have to change anything in here unless you want to add it to a sheet index. So all of this is set up using the drawing seed, like the scale, what annotation we're using. We'll see a lot more of the annotation when we do a profile. And then if you want to open the model or not. So go ahead and click OK. And so it opens it up to the last sheet it created. So I'll just go back to the first plan sheet. So then it created your plan sheet, and we don't have it set up like this in our workspace, but you could have it like automatically number the sheet and put in a designer and things like that. And what happens in the background is it creates 2 models for you. It creates what is called a drawing model, which is this one that is like a gray icon here. And so I'll go into that. And this is where you'll do a lot of your labeling. Our annotation group actually placed the north arrow for us. That's what that was doing. And then this is just a reference of your design model to this. And so you can do your labeling and stuff in here. And then this is referenced directly to the sheet, which is at 0, 0. And so this is referenced and rotated. So if I go to my Home tab and go to Attach Tools, I'll see References. And so this can be moved or manipulated, just like any reference. You know, if you want to clip it to the sheet. Let me see what else. Also, if I go back to my design model, I'll see that these are just shapes. So these boundaries are shapes. When I created my place name boundary, it has this boundary chords information. That's how many points it puts in the shape. And so these are just microstation elements. If you came in here and say there was like a tree or something out here that got left out, you can just come in here and manipulate this shape, and then that will carry through to your sheet. Let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to go and go ahead and create some cross-section sheets as well. And so we'll go to cross-section, and I'll pick a drawing seat again. And then again, it's asking me to identify a path. So I'm going to pick my alignment. And then I can give it a start and end station. And I actually, before I start this, I have to have the 3D view open so that what it's going to do is place actual slices in my 3D model. And so it has to be open for you to do that. So go ahead and open that. Pick my alignment one more time. And so I'll start all the way at the beginning. I'm just going to do a few so that we don't have to sit here for a while, but we'll go to station. And then again, the drawing seed sets up the scale, all of the offsets, top and bottom clearance, which is how large the slices are. It sets up the exaggeration, how often they're getting placed. And again, this can all be manipulated. The seed is just kind of a starting point default. And so I'll just left click to see the slices, left click to place them. Oop. And then again, it's going to ask me, do I want to create drawing? This is where the annotation group really comes into play. So we'll see that now. So I'm going to add it to a sheet index and hit OK. And let it process. And then once it's finished, so it combines as many cross sections on the sheet as it can. So let's go to the first one. And so this one could put 4 on there. Again, same thing. You'll get a drawing model of each section. And this is where the annotation group really comes into play. All of this grid and all of the labeling here comes from that annotation group that's set up in that drawing seed. So let me go back to my multi-model views. And so I just wanted to show you that the slices it places in the 3D view. And so this is the kind of the picture it takes, and then it references this to that drawing model for whatever station you're at. And then this gets referenced to a sheet. Let's say that something changed in the model and you want to relabel your cross sections, because if your model changes, all of this will update. The only thing that doesn't update automatically is the labeling, but it can easily be updated just by going to model annotation, and I can remove the model annotation. I'll say all drawing models yes, and then I can just annotate the model again. And then I just have to pick my annotation group and left click. And then it will relabel everything. Let's go back and look at the different types of sheets we have in here. So we have our place name boundary. So let's go look at this name boundaries manager. So this small icon here, actually any of these will open up like a manager dialog. And so the name boundaries manager will contain all of the sheets that are in your file, or anything that is referenced to your file as well. So you can see all of the sheets there. And so like if you just created the boundaries, this is where you could come back in and recreate your sheets. So you don't have to create them all in one go. You can do it in the name boundaries manager. Also, this is where you can add it to a group. So let's say you wanted to come back and add a cross section at a specific station. So we'll say we'll do it at this station, but we're going to add it to the group we already have. And so then you would have to come back and then recreate your sheets again, but you can add cross section. And so you can see the slice out there, the extra slice. Any questions so far? I see some questions in the chat. Chuck, do you want to read them out or do you want me to read them?
Yeah, I can read them. Says, will name boundary support a roll plot? MDOT is moving to a sheetless project delivery utilizing an overall project PDF. Would this be supported by the name boundary? If not, how would that be supported?
Yes, you can do roll plots with the name boundary. It's just a matter of setting up a sheet seed. You can make these sheets any size you want. So like this one is for ANTCD, but these are all set up in our workspace. They would just have to be set up in the MDOT's workspace.
And I'm sure once MDOT comes out with their standards and they start going this new delivery system, I'm sure they'll have a setting for that. Another question, is there any way to see all the cross sections at one time without having to have each in a separate model? Having each section in a separate model does not support an easy review of the sections, and seems like it bloats a file on large projects.
Yeah, so this has been a question from everyone. Yeah, so we don't right now we don't have the capability to have all your sheets in one file. They're all in their separate models, but they are going to add it. We've had a lot of feedback, and a lot of the states want to have sheets in separate files for not just for viewing purposes, but for multiple people working on them. So that will be added, probably not in the next release. I would look for it sometime in the fall release of this year.
Okay.
You can navigate cross sections just like you did in SS4. Let me go back with the cross section viewer, but that's not the sheets, obviously. So if you just wanted to view them, the only way that I could tell you right now is to use the dynamic cross section view. Oh, let me pick the corridor. It'll let me. So you would have to come in and do it this way. Come on, software, work with me today. So you could easily view your cross sections this way, but this obviously is not your sheet, so this isn't something you would, have labels on or anything like that. But that is coming. Was there any other questions?
I think that's all we had right now.
Okay. So I'll do one more type of sheets. I'll do profile just so you can see kind of how that works as well. So let me open the profile model. All right, so we have our profile model open. I'll do plan and profile since that one's a little different. So I'll go back to my place name boundaries, and when you're doing like something like plan and profile, you'll have to set up the plan boundaries first. So I'll go to plan and profile plan, and I'm not going to create the drawing just yet because I want to create my boundaries and then go back and create the drawing. So I'm going to pick my alignment, go all the way from beginning to end. And then place my boundaries. And so now I can see I have another group of plan sheets in here. And come back and I'll do profile. And I'll pick my drawing seed. And then for profile, I'll just have to click in the profile view and select that profile that I want to create sheets on. And I'm not going to do it, so the method could be from station limits or it can be from a plan group. So we're going to use the plan group London Road 1. And so if you use the plan group, that will line up your boundaries along with the boundaries that are in your plan. And so I'll go ahead and place those. And then I can come to my name boundaries manager and toggle on this create drawing. And then I can go to, you could either create just the profiles or you can create the plan and profile drawing. And so again, the drawing seed will set all this information up for you. You can add to a sheet index, and so I'll hit OK. And so then we have our plan and profile sheets. And again, the annotation and the grid information all come from that annotation group. And this is just a reference again of that profile view. So you'll have some profile views in here and some plan views. And then you could, if you just want to get rid of these sheets, all you have to do is just come in here and delete them from the name boundaries manager. Or you can delete them from the list of models too. Let's talk about annotation before I get back into my PowerPoint. Let me go back to my multi-model views. Another thing that was added for the OpenRoads Designer is the ability to do some annotations, not just model annotation like we've seen here, but we can also do things like annotating an alignment or an element. And so I'll just show you one quickly in the cross-section view. And so I'm going to use this place label command. And so this is a new tool that allows you to use either cells or text favorites. Text favorites are just stored labels. They can have information like it can pull information from other elements, so like station and offset. So I'm just going to pick, I'll do this cross-section offset elevation. If you do it by a cell, if you have a dimension style name the same name as the cell, it will automatically pick that for you. And then I'm just going to place the point in here. So if I can snap to something. Well, it snapped to the bottom there, but so you can see then it placed the label. Here, I'll do it this way. And then it tells you what the offset and the elevation are. So you can do that anywhere in here. And this can be done in plan view as well, just not just cross section. So anything that you can get information from the civil element, offset, station, slope, any of that information can be created in a text favorite.
Hey, Christiana.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic capabilities of OpenRoads now, you might be showing this later, but you don't have to recut the cross sections or profiles, it'll just update. But when you place these special cells or text favorites, will those also update with the dynamic view? Yeah,
so like if you snap to a point and that point changes, then yes, these labels will update.
Okay.
These are not associated with the annotation group that gets placed like by these with these. So even if you removed model annotation, let's just do this one. See, this one will stay the same, so or it'll stay there. So.
But if your bottom, say you snap that to the bottom subbase, and then the subbase got rotated, would that leader rubber band to the new point and the text update?
I don't know that it will like rotate this portion of it, but this will like it will be linked to whatever this point is.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Let me go into another file just so I can show you the element annotation. Let's go into our geometry file. And so we've done model annotation and we've done place label. Those are two new tools, but we also have element annotation. So like if you wanted to, you can have an annotation group that's attached to a feature. So this is an alignment feature we have, and it has an annotation group attached to it. And so you can label this entire element based on that annotation group. So I'll just go here to element annotation. I'll pick it and then right click. And then you can see the stationing, and let me change my scale so it's a little bigger. Oh, that's a little too big. Or maybe my other text is too big. But you can see that the stationing text will annotate and change with the size of the annotation scale. And so this can be completely customizable too. You know, you can have it, some states have it turned the other way, some like it like this. So it can be totally customized for whatever state you're working for. Any questions on the drawing production tools for OpenRoads?
Is it possible to give a quick demonstration, like if you change profile, how the name groups automatically update?
Like if you changed your profile or your model, like your cross section? Right,
like when we would change a profile, then we have to go back and blow away our profiles and redisplay them. But now these are all dynamic, correct?
Yeah, so I'll just change the model and show you in cross section views. The same thing for profile too, though. Everything is dynamic now. So what should I change here? Do something up here. We'll go from 50 to change that. I don't think I like my change. Let's just change the template drop. Bear with me. Hold on one second. Let's see. Take out everything except for that. Okay, so now if we go back into our sheets, and look at our cross sections. See, now it's been changed. That's what I meant by the only thing that is not updated is your text. So then you would have to come in here, remove model annotation. I'll just do this model and then re-annotate. Okay.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions about
Yeah,
the plan?
there's a couple more. I'm not sure when this one came in or what it applies to, but it says that will not show you what the output with the annotation would like, though, correct? I'm not sure what that meant. Let's go with the next one. It seems the items from surface templates like slopes are not able to be annotated. Will that be corrected? Modeling roundabouts and complex intersections rely heavily on surface templates, and annotating the slopes of those surfaces and cross sections is critical.
You should be able to annotate the slopes of the surface template. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they need to explain a little more, but
yeah, you should be able to label anything that the model can see. So anything that's in your template, anything that's in the model should be able to be labeled. And if it's not, then that's probably a bug.
Okay, that's all the questions to date.
Okay, so let me go back. So frequently asked questions we have about sheets a lot is, can I place my name boundaries in one file and sheets in another? So for that you can. So let's say you wanted to create name boundaries for, use the same name boundaries you use for your plan sheets as for like maybe traffic control or utility adjustment sheets. You can create your boundaries in one sheet, and then, or in one file, and then go into another file, reference those boundaries in, and cut your sheets from the reference. That will work for plan, and it's supposed to work for profile, but that's broken right now in this update anyways. So plan and profile, but you can't do that for cross-section as of right now. Like I said, I think that should be available in the fall release. So that goes to the next thing. Can I place my sheets in individual files? No, not right now. What the workaround kind of is right now is you can break your sheets up into different files. So like you could do, if you had 100 sheets, you could do 25 sheets per file or 10 sheets per file. Before we stop talking about sheets, there is one thing I forgot to mention. I did add all of these to a sheet index. And so let me go back to my, if I go to the Home tab, project, what was formerly known as Project Explorer is now just called Explorer. So I'll open up Explorer. And one of the sections in Explorer is your sheet index. And so everything I've added to the sheet index should be in here. I already had some sheets added to this, so just ignore that. But if you want to edit your sheet index, you click on that little pencil icon, and so you can come in here and create folders. I'll just do plan and profile. You can come in here and add sheets. So like if you forgot to add it in that little dialog, you can come in here and pick a sheets, or you can directly add it from your model dialog. So all of these are sheet models. Anything that has the little sheet icon is a sheet model or has the sheet parentheses behind it. So anything like that can be added to a sheet index. Oh, I already added it to the model. So also in the sheet index, you can put things like prefixes or anything like that. If you go to this Manage Sheet Index, there's 3 different tabs. You have the index, and so like if you wanted a suffix or a prefix here, you could add that. That's for the entire index. You can do it by folder, so each folder would have its own suffix or prefix. And then for sheets, you can add whatever properties you want just by clicking on this Add Property. And so like for my folders, you'll see all my sheets have a prefix of A in there. And then you can also do, with your sheet index, you can place it as a table. So this is a new, something new in OpenRoads. Our tables, so I'll just zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So once you place the table, it kind of works as a like an Excel spreadsheet. So like you can click on it and you'll get this new tab up here, and you can do things like borders, or you can get rid of columns. You can make them bigger, stretch them out. So it just works kind of like Excel. And you can also get to this, you can place tables. You don't have to do it like through this. You can place tables if you go to the Drawing tab and go to, no, I forgot where it is, Annotate. There's a Place Table command, and that will allow you to place tables just based on columns and rows. We're going to do a report here in a little bit, so I'll show you that. And then you can also base it off of an Excel spreadsheet. So like you can do it from a file also. And then also in the sheet index, you can send this to Print Organizer. So if you just want to print these sheets, you know, it will keep all your folder structures and all your numbering. And so then you can just print directly from the P set. And then this is a property of your work set. So all of these will be in the work set that you're in. Also, like if you're in another file or even another model, you want to open up a sheet, you can directly open it from the sheet index. That's by double clicking on it. Any other questions about the sheet index so far?
I imagine that's for your border, fill in the sheet numbers and all that.
Yeah, so like you can use the properties of this sheet index, these numbers, to fill in like your sheet number and stuff like that automatically, so that you can populate your numbers and everything automatically as well.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let me go back. All right, so in OpenRoads Designer, something else that's changed is that we have a new super elevation engine. So the setup is a little bit different. It's XML based. You can convert your old super elevation files, but we do deliver ASHTO XML files as well. You also have the ability to view your super elevation model in a viewer just like you can in with cross sections and with profiles. It's supposed to be able to integrate with sheet production for plans because I know some states like to see these on sheets, but I don't think it's working quite yet. Again, I think that will be in the fall release, but it is coming. Some other things about OpenRoads that are just better than SS4 is that it's 64-bit and it's multiprocessor enabled, so you get a lot of performance gains. We'll kind of see this video of them side by side, just updating a corridor. You can see their processing. And so where this one's at like 60%, SS4 is only at like 11. So OpenRoads Designer is done and SS4 is still processing. So that's a good thing moving forward. It takes a lot less time to process than SS4. Another new thing in OpenRoads is what we call item types. An item type is a user-defined set of properties that can be attached to an object. So it can be things like your specification numbers, a pay item number, the element state, or notes even. How can they be used? So item type properties can be used in reports, so reporting on like your different pay items. It can be used in annotation, so like anything, you can add an item type property and then use text favorites to annotate on that. And it can also be used to display your elements in different ways using display styles. Also, we have item types plus, which is allows you to attach multiple items at once. It's more customizable too, allows drop down list, and it can automatically populate some other properties based on certain things. Report definitions, which I said we would speak about, is one thing that is good use of item types. So like if you have elements that have a specific pay item, you can report on all of those. You can report on even your work set properties, design file properties. You can really report on anything that's attached to an element. So I'll show you kind of how that works. So let me open a different file.
Christiana, while you're doing that, we got two more questions. One goes back to the one about not being able to label the surface template.
Mm-hmm.
He says we tried it and it would not label slope from a surface template.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I'll put my email at the end of this, and you shoot me an email. We'll set up we'll set a defect number, so because it should be labeling those.
Okay, and one more question. Somebody wants to know, how do you separate removal and construction sheets?
Separate removal and construction sheets.
I think he wants to know how do you create a separate removal and separate construction. It'd just be two separate.
Yeah, just two separate files or two separate. You could even do it in the same file, but just as two separate sheets. You would just have to have a drawing seed for it. Like if you wanted a specific border for one or the other, you would just have a drawing seed set up to pull that border.
Okay, great. That's it.
Okay, so let's look at the item types. So if we go to, so item types are actually a microstation tool. So I'm in the drawing drop down or workflow. And so I'll go to attach and then attach item. And item types are stored in a DGN library. They're also part of your workspace, much like a level or feature definition is. So you can just come in here and pick which ones you want. So let me see, I think I have some lines out here. So I could come in here and attach like an item type for curb and gutter, and maybe also attach some designer notes as well. And then you just pick an element. I already have some attached to that one. So you pick an element and then it will attach those items. And then inside the properties for that element, so if I just select this and open up my properties, you'll see now that, well, I add both to it, but it has the item type PAO number, and you can also put in notes here. All of this is attached to the element. And so if you wanted to detach them, you could detach the item, and that will remove them. You can also attach item types in a inside the feature definition, but you can only do one item type at a time inside the feature. So I'll just show you where that's at. So inside the feature definition setting, there's a place that you could put, you know, you wanted to add item type information. And so then anytime you use this feature, it would already have that item type attached to it. There's multiple ways you could do it. You could also use item types plus, which gives you a little bit more flexibility. And then once you have item types on your the lines or meshes, or it can be on any element, you can add an item type. It could be on a model. So anytime you, like say you built a cell, you could add it to the model of that cell, so that anytime you place that cell, it would have item types on it. And then once you have the item types, if you go to the Analyze tab and go to Reports, you can set up different reports. And we have some videos out on our Learn server on how to set these up. It is a little bit tedious, and it can be a little confusing at first, but you can generate reports based on the elements it finds in either, it could be in just the active file, it could be just in the active model, it could be in a path, so a number of files. And then you can either preview it or send it to a table. So let's see what we get for curb and gutter type 1. Oh, I don't think I have. Oh, maybe I don't have any attached. So let's just attach a few to these lines out here. There we go. And so, you know, it populated the pay item number, the description I put, and then the length for each one. And so, I mean, you could put in just more than just this information. Let's see. You could put in how many items you found, you know, what the material is, if it had any. So anything that the element properties have on it, you can search and put in the table, and that includes the item type information. You can also export this out to a table that you just place in your file, or you can export it out to an Excel spreadsheet. So you could save it out here to a workbook. Any questions on the tables? Or item types?
I think that's it.
Okay, so quickly as we wrap up, OpenRoads can also be carried forward from our other products. So you can have OpenRoads talk back and forth with OpenRoads Concept Station, which is a conceptual design product, which allows you to easily bring in like being maps, aerial images, and then quickly put in a concept of your roadway. And so that information can be brought forward to OpenRoads Designer. And then moving past that, you can also design in OpenRoads and also take it out to LumenRT, which is our visualization software, which allows you to do things like live cubes and a 3D immersive video or really full digital visualization. If you need help, one thing I'll talk about real quick before I let you go is Connect Advisor. We also have a help page inside of OpenRoads Designer. The Bentley communities are fantastic, and the Bentley website. So let me talk to you about Connect Advisor. It is available for SS4 to download, but it comes installed already with OpenRoads Designer. And so it's just another way to search for things in the product without actually having to get outside of the product. So I can pick what I want to search through. So like if I wanted to search everything, or if I just want to search the learn content, or if I just want to see the communities, or even YouTube. And so you can say horizontal. And then it will go and search through all of those different things and then return them to you. So you don't have to exit and go to Google or whatever. You can just search inside the product. There's some different settings you have. So you can, it can launch every time you have startup, or you can just click on this whenever you need it. Let's see. You have recommendations, so like if you're recommended by someone else to do some training, if you guys, well, you can connect to all of your projects through like the online share, and then you can do offline viewing as well. And then there's my email if you have like whoever had the defect with the not labeling the sleeves, let me know so we can send it to the support team. And it is a work in progress, and we are updating every quarter. So just realize that like there are new things coming out every quarter. There's also some new tools I don't know that I mentioned that you probably want to check out that are not just drawing production related, but there's a lot of new survey tools. So if you're a surveyor, definitely check out some of the survey stuff. It's gotten a lot better since SS4. Let's see what else. There are some new geometry type tools. So there's this table editor. I'm not in this file, so it may let me. So you can edit things by table. This will be for profile as well. You could use the same thing. There's also a geometry builder and connector that's a little different. So there's some new tools in here as well, not just the sheeting and stuff like that. Any questions on anything I talked about today?
Yeah, there's one more question. Christiana says, going back to the sheet organizer and sheet sets, in the past I have used tag sets and spreadsheet tag set editor to quickly add and change sheet titles or sheet numbers, revision blocks, etc. Will this new way incorporate the ability to pull all the information from a spreadsheet to make edits quickly?
Well, if you have it set up right, you really shouldn't have to edit it that much. But I mean, you can still use tags. I mean, they're still available. I think they will be pushed away at some point. I don't know if you can edit it in like an Excel spreadsheet. I'd have to look into that. If you'll give me some time to look into it, shoot me an email and I'll look and see what we got.
Okay. I think that's the last question.
If that's it, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you guys for having me. I hope everyone learned something. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for putting us on, Christiana.
You're welcome.
All right, just a quick couple notes here. First of all, thanks for joining our first webinar. As you've seen, we have quite a few good webinars coming up every 2 months. Next one's in July for modeling a complex intersection. We won't be bombarding you with emails or anything like that, but after each webinar, we're going to put out a survey just to make sure that we're giving you guys what you want to see and asking for input. And we are in the final stages of finalizing our first multi-day Bentley conference in the summer of 2020. It's going to be held at the Vista Tech Center at Schoolcraft College in Livonia. So we're going to be sending out a survey on that. It's going to be really cheap to attend. Again, like I said, it's going to be 2 days. So we'll be sending out a survey on that probably within the next week or two. So, and then to get your PDH credits for this, I sent an email out before. If you just go to learn.bentley.com, you need to have a Bentley username and password, which I'm sure you all do because you have to set it up when that box comes up. But go to learn.bentley.com. In the lower left, you'll see a box that says My Learning Units, I think it says. And then just go to View, and there will be your certificates in PDF form. And you can print those out and do what you need to do. It's probably going to be a few days before they're uploaded. I got to talk to Bentley and get that squared away. But other than that, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll put out another notice closer to July about the next one. So thanks everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Christiana. See ya.